Hi there, everyone. I wanted to share an encouragement on a subject that God's been teaching me about most recently, and I think it's especially applicable to our current situation of not being able to meet with each other on Sunday mornings. That subject is resting in the finished, completed work of Jesus. That theme of resting and its counterpart working is really important in the Bible, and it's found all the way through the Old Testament, throughout the whole Bible. God Himself gave this principle when He created the universe. He worked for 6 days, and then when the work was complete on the seventh day, He stopped. He rested. He ceased. That's what that Hebrew verb means. Shabbat, Sabbath. It literally means to stop, to desist, or to rest. And God implanted this idea into His people by making it part of their law. Their schedule revolved around working for 6 days and then resting for one. You work hard all week long, you diligently work, and then on the Sabbath, you get to rest and enjoy the fruits of your labor. And really, the Bible has lots of different pictures of this, but the ultimate picture of this rest is heaven. That's where we'll finally be done and at peace. We'll do nothing but be at home with God and enjoy Him forever. God even describes heaven in the Psalms and many other places. He describes going to heaven as entering into my rest. But we have an issue here. If the principle of work and rest is going to function for us in order to get into heaven the same way that it does with God in Genesis 1, we have a problem. The problem is that God perfectly accomplishes His work in creation. Everything He does is very good. Everything He creates is very good. It naturally follows that He should be at peace. He deserves His rest when He's done. But the problem that we face is that our work is not very good. We don't deserve an eternal Sabbath rest for our work. We don't keep God's law. We are to be holy as He is holy, but instead we sin. If we need to work perfectly to enter into God's rest, we're never going to make it. And that is why Jesus came. He was the perfect God-man. He kept God's law, and He actively obeyed the Father. Everything that Jesus did was very good. He earned a perfect, eternal Sabbath rest. And by faith in Him and what He did on the cross, He takes all of our failure and He gives us all of His success. He takes our record of law breaking upon Himself and He gives us His record of perfect law keeping. The eternal Sabbath rest that He deserves rightfully, it becomes ours. And this is why everything changes in the new covenant. Saturday is day number 7. It would make sense to rest on that day if you're still trying to paint this picture of working for your salvation, working for your eternal rest with God. But Sunday is the day that Jesus rose from the grave and defeated death. That's day number 1 on the week. The week begins with Sunday. As Christians, Sabbath rest is our starting point. Victory over sin and death is our starting point. Peace with God is our starting point. Right standing with God, perfect holiness in His eyes is our starting point. We don't work to earn it. Jesus said, "It is finished," not "it has begun." We live out the rest of our week as a response to that glorious reality. As Christians, that's a huge part of what we're supposed to be doing each time we get together on a Sunday morning when we gather. So right now, during the quarantine, if you're having a hard time spiritually, it shouldn't surprise you. We can do live streams and Zoom calls and videos like this, but one of the biggest gifts that God gives us on a regular basis, that regular reminder to rest in the completed work of Jesus, the gathering of the saints on Sunday morning, that's not happening right now. It should not surprise us that we're hurting. While we're apart, right now, we need to be all the more aware about whether or not we are trying to work to earn our Sabbath rest or whether we're resting in the perfect work that Christ already accomplished for us. Abide in Him. Rest in Him. Seek after him, seek his face. And when we finally do come together again on a Sunday to worship together, make sure to remind your brothers and your sisters that the work is done.